I'm going to assume you know nothing, and we're going to talk about eyebrows today. This is my favorite brow pen, and this is my favorite brow product. The longest standing brow product that I've used, the Dip Brow Pomade. Now, we're not going to villainize this because we were the ones misusing it in 2016. It can be used done and in a beautiful way. And you can also use a brow pencil. But if you look at my brows, I have pretty, not thick brows, but pretty full brows, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't have to fill in too much. But here is a couple super secret top tricks and tips that I use as a makeup artist of 10 years to get my brows to look perfect. Number 1 is avoiding the front of the brow. Number 2 is knowing that brows are very personal and everyone loves a different type of brow. Number 3 is realizing that if you have coarse, scraggly, or very unruly brows, you're gonna need a brow gel or a brow glue. Both are different, both still serve their purpose. If you have unmanageable, untamed brows, you're gonna want a glue. And if you want a video on breaking down gel versus brow glue, let me know and I'll do that video for you guys. But let's get into it using the brow pen because I feel like this is most accessible and most used in this day and age. This is a L'Oreal Faux Brow and it is my favorite brow pen. Now, when it comes to brows, I want to do hair-like strokes. So I am going to manipulate the brush to give me hair-like strokes. I'm not going to just draw and fill it in. Does that make sense? So when I'm doing this, I'm going in little tiny hair-like stroke motions. And I like to start mid-brow and build up the shape of my brow. I want that to be as straight as possible. Then I like to do the same with the tail. And I find that outlining my brow and then going and filling it in after is the most helpful because we're drawing our shape. We can always fill our shape in. If you go kind of AWOL and just start filling it in, you can lose the plot. Here I have some sparseness between brow hairs and I like it to be just a little bit more full. And again, I really do think brows are personal preference, but you can already see this brow take shape over this brow. I like a pretty clean, crisp brow, so I'll even go in and clean it up with concealer. And I like to think of concealer as my eraser. So if you get outside of the lines, don't worry about it. I am going to show you another method on the other brow though, so stay tuned. I like to look at my brow from different angles and see, is there something that I missed? Is there a place that needs to be filled in more or less, specifically on this brow? I'll look in different lighting as well and tilt my head because I'm pretty particular about my brows. I also do that when doing a client's brow though. And you notice I avoided the front section of the brow. Again, I have fuller brows, but someone who has more sparse brows, I'm going to gently, with very light pressure, because I want the pigment to be less noticeable here than I do here. Very light pressure, I'll flick some upwards and some slightly aimed towards the tail of the brow, just until I feel like I have fully filled in the brow to my desire. And if I have too much pigmentation, I'll go in with my finger and kind of spread her out. And you can see there now I have a really nice structured filled in brow that isn't too much. Then I'll go in and clean her up with concealer somewhat close to my foundation shade or the shade of concealer that I'll be using on my face later, at least on the underneath of the brow. And you can go in with your foundation on this same brush later and go ahead and carve out the top of this brow. That's a brow done, but here is my trick if you struggle. I am going to outline this brow with concealer before ever even going in with product. Notice how it's much easier to get the concealer nice and straight and the brow isn't matching up to the concealer quite yet. It isn't meeting up to the concealer. That's how I'm going to know where I need to fill it in. In this instance, we're actually using a trick called negative space. So I am creating an outline around my brow, and this will help to show my eye without having to imagine it, the negative space. As a makeup artist, I'm really good, and just an artist in general, growing up taking so many art classes in school, that was my favorite. I am able to much easier now see the negative space in which my brow needs filled in. And this is great for someone who maybe wants a more natural brow. And I'm using a shade that's a little bit too light for me because I really want you guys to be able to imagine this with me and learn while we go. I want to make makeup simple for you guys. I'm going to go in with a different shade just because I want to show you how different tones, different shades, and different products can give you a different outcome. This is the same brow pen, but a much lighter shade. And notice I'm going in where it looks sparse. I'll look around and the bottom looks pretty sparse here. So I'll come in and I'm just meeting with the concealer. I am not going outside the lines of the concealer or anything like that. And this is, again, a much lighter shade than my actual brow. And now we have a filled in, structured, lighter brow on this side. And I'll kind of brush the hair and again, look at it from different angles. This might be too light for that brow, like so much so. This little spot is bothering me. Again, I'm really particular about my eyebrows. So I'm gonna go in with light pressure and hit that area because it's making me feel like I don't have brow hairs. I like a structured brow. Again, brows are pretty personal, but you can see there now I have two structured brows, two different shades, and if I want my brow hairs to lay in a certain way to make the shape look more defined, I can even go in with that brow gel and do that. Let me know what you guys want me to cover next in this Makeup Made Simple series. I'm really excited about this series, and I want to know what it is you guys specifically need help with.